Well, good morning, everybody, and welcome. It's great to see all of you here. I couldn't help but notice as I came in this morning that there was a large box of Kleenex at the end of each row. I wasn't sure if that's because the staff anticipated my remarks this morning would be so moving or so bad. So it's great to see the class of '69. Congratulations. Actually, what did bring tears to my eyes was the sight of this check. That's several boxes right there. So I don't know if you can read it back there, but it's a check for $5,941,892. If it had been a little bit bigger, we could have afforded full-size basketballs. So we'll work on that. So that's the gauntlet is down for the class of 1970. So if you have the chance to see one of these balls, it says, in honor of the Hamilton College men's basketball team, 1968 to 1969, the greatest team in the first 75 years of Hamilton College's basketball history. Now, you know this ball did not go through the communications office because then it would have said, the greatest team ever. So we'll work on that. Well, it's really a pleasure to be with you this morning. I wanted to share a few observations about why we're here and what we do. Some of you may have heard that when Pablo Casals was in his 90s, he was asked, why do you still practice the cello 4 to 5 hours a day? And he replied, because I think I'm making progress. So, after 207 years, I think Hamilton College could say much the same. We are still making progress. But what is it exactly that we are making progress at? Yes, we keep beating our application numbers every year, setting new records, with a 34% jump this year alone. And yes, our students keep getting stronger and stronger. If you look at the average ACT and SAT scores of this year's entering class, you will see they put them in the top 2% of students nationally. Our acceptance rate has fallen from 24% 2 years ago to 21% last year to 16% this year. And our student body is more diverse than ever. The numbers of Pell-eligible and first-generation college students continue to grow. So I can't tell you the number of times Hamilton alumni come up to me and say, I could not get admitted today. But it is almost exactly equal to the number of times I refrain from saying, you're right. Our faculty is larger, stronger, and more diverse than ever, the endowment near an all-time high, and the campus never more beautiful. But none of that quite gets at why we're here. Well, in a nutshell, we're here to prepare our students for lives of meaning, purpose, and active citizenship. That's what a liberal arts education at Hamilton is about. That is, it has been, and it will remain our mission. If you read Morris Isserman's magisterial history of the college on the Hill, you'll discover that when Hamilton was founded, there were only 30 colleges in the United States. And at the time, that probably seemed plenty, because there were only 1,000 college students in the entire country. So when we opened as the 31st college in November 1812, we had a grand total of 21 students enrolled. Tuition was $18. It has since gone up. In keeping with its charter from the state of New York, Hamilton offered instruction in the learned languages and the liberal arts and sciences. That meant in practice lots of Livy and Cicero in Latin and Homer in Greek and a smattering of arithmetic, geography, and science. The Hamilton of 1812 would scarcely be recognizable today. There were no seminars, no electives, no classroom discussions, and not much to do outside the classroom. Although, in fairness, the Stagecoach to Utica did run on both Tuesdays and Fridays. But the goal of providing the best possible liberal arts education in an engaged learning environment has never changed. So at commencement, I mentioned a wonderful translation of Hesiod's Works and Days. I'm sure you've all read it in the original ancient Greek. I needed the translation, so 3 of our students sent a translation to me that they had prepared just a few weeks ago. And there was a little note with it, and it told me that twice a week they would come to class prepared with individual translations, and they would spend the class period comparing notes and compiling the most accurate and accessible version. So while the rest of the country was debating the ending of Game of Thrones, these students were debating vocabulary and syntax and the meaning of Hesiod. So you might ask, well, why bother with an ancient Greek didactic poem? Because, they said, it's still a useful tool for education, even if we don't plan to construct plows or castrate oxen in the near future. Always useful skills. Well, that, in a nutshell, is the Hamilton experience. For over 200 years, inspirational faculty have helped talented students develop their capacity for critical thinking, deep reading of texts, effective oral and written expression, but most of all, a love of learning. In addition to providing a degree whose value can and has been calculated in dollars, we provide an education, and that's priceless. James Garfield, the president of Hiram College, and yes, also the president of the United States, once defined the ideal college as Mark Hopkins on one end of a log and a student on the other. Mark Hopkins, you may know, was an early president of Williams. If Garfield had been better informed, he probably would have cited Azel Backus. But either way, the idea is clear. Liberal arts colleges are unique not just for what we teach, but for how we teach it. Hamilton is a close, student-centered, intentional learning community with unmatched opportunities for personalized, I might even say customized, engagement with faculty, staff, and peers. Larger institutions just can't match that. When I talk to alumni, they tell me there were 2 things that were really fundamental to their experience here. First, a few close relationships with faculty who mentored them and encouraged them, supported them, guided them, pushed them, and taught them something deep and lasting. Sid Werdemer, of course, is the quintessential example. Sid liked to accost freshmen by name. He would follow their progress with keen interest and an unmatched campus intelligence network. And occasionally, he would haul them into his office to express his profound reservations about their likely future at Hamilton. A dressing down invariably followed by just the nudge, or sometimes the shove, needed to get that student back on track. And second, alumni talked to me about the friendships they formed in the classroom and on the playing fields, in the dining halls and in the residence halls, and anywhere they gathered on campus. Such close association in an engaged learning community does more than just forge camaraderie. It transforms attitudes, and it expands our capacity for sympathy, empathy, and understanding. One of our alumni recently expressed this in a way that's far more powerful than I could, so I'm going to borrow. When asked why he is devoted to the college, so devoted to the college, he often replies, because Hamilton made and continues to make me better. When he arrived at Hamilton in 1967, he noted, he was not a particularly worldly wise or intellectually curious person. He grew up in a bubble of time and place and privilege, a community where WASPs and some Catholics were welcome, but not Jews, African Americans, Asians, Muslims, or gays. Our parents, he said, were all Republicans. They all read the Herald Tribune, and they all hated FDR, Harry Truman, and Adlai Stevenson. They belonged to the same clubs, socialized with the same people, and felt good about their place. At Hamilton, he did not find a melting pot, although he would today, but he did encounter people from different types of circumstances, economic and social. And over 4 years, the experiences he had at Hamilton changed him. He learned, as he put it, to discard labels and dig deeper. Would I have had the same personal growth at another college, he asked? His answer, maybe yes, but maybe no, because, he said, I honestly believe This small, comparatively isolated community in rural upstate New York is unique. Now, he wouldn't say this himself, but anyone who knows him would. He may not have been worldly wise or intellectually curious when he got here, but he was when he left. And he has led a life of meaning, purpose, and active citizenship. As a husband and father, a colleague and friend, a businessman and employer, and a community leader. And if there is anyone of whom it can be said, he asks not what the college can do for him, but what he can do for the college, he is that graduate. I am referring to Jeff Little, who's here. Jeff has done everything the college has asked, and believe me, we have asked a lot. The remarks I was quoting a few moments ago were from Jeff's comments at our annual honorary degree dinner. Jeff got one of those degrees the old-fashioned way. He earned it. All because at Hamilton, Jeff learned to discard labels and dig deeper. Now, you may not find this written in Latin or Greek. You might not find it in Cicero or Homer. But if there's a better brief summary of the value of liberal arts education, I haven't heard it. So 207 years from now, I hope and I trust that we will be even better at teaching our students to discard labels and dig deeper. And if we are, we, like Pablo Casals, will be able to say we are still making progress. Thank you all and have a wonderful weekend.